Well, good morning, friends. Good to see you. Welcome. West Tennessee Dave here, live to you on Twitch at 6:33 in the morning Central Time. Good to see you all now, and good to see you all on a VOD later on. Hello to all of you. Good to see you. Hope you are excellent today. Let's see, what are we going to get into? Today we're going to read Judges 1 through 5. So let's give a quick recap. Yesterday we saw the finishing of Joshua's leadership. He passed away, and that finishes the book of Joshua. So now we move into the book of Judges. And what does Judges mean, and what are the judges? In our culture in America, we think of judges as people that sit on the bench or whatever else and rule over legal presidings. But that is not exactly the case of what that is here. This book is basically the word judges is what they're going to use as the next leader. So we're going to go through leadership in Israel and a good number of generations quickly as we move through the book of Judges and who is the appointed leader after Joshua, and continuing on through the different seasons of what happens to the Israelite community. All right, so without further ado, let's get rolling. Judges 1 through 5. After the death of Joshua, the Israelites asked the Lord, which tribe should go first to attack the Canaanites? The Lord answered, Judah, for I have given them victory over the land. The men of Judah said to their relatives from the tribe of Simeon, join with us to fight against the Canaanites living in the territory allotted to us. Then we will help you conquer your territory. So the men of Simeon went with Judah. The men of Judah attacked, and the Lord gave them victory over the Canaanites and Perizzites, and they killed 10,000 enemy warriors at the town of Bezek. While at Bezek, they encountered King Adonai-Bezek and fought against him. And the Canaanites and Perizzites were defeated. Adonai-Bezek was escaped, but the Israelites soon captured him and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Adonai-Bezek said, I once had 70 kings with their thumbs and big toes cut off, eating scraps from under my table. Now God has paid me back for what I did to them. They took him to Jerusalem, and he died there. The men of Judah attacked Jerusalem and captured it, killing all its people and setting the city on fire. Then they went down to fight the Canaanites living in the hill country, the Negev and the western foothills. Judah marched against the Canaanites in Hebron, formerly called Kiriath Arba, defeating the forces of Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai. From there they went up to fight against the people living in the town of Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sephir. Caleb said, I will give my daughter Achsah in marriage to the one who attacks and captures Kiriath Sephir. Othniel, the son of Caleb's younger brother Kenaz, was the one who conquered it, so Achsah became Othniel's wife. When Achsah married Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. As she got down off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What's the matter? She said, Let me have another gift. You have already given me the land in the Negev. Now please give me springs of water too. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. When the tribe of Judah left Jericho, the city of palms, the Kenites, who were the descendants of Moses' father-in-law, traveled with them into the wilderness of Judah. They settled among the people near the town of Arad in the Negev. Then Judah joined with Simeon to fight against the Canaanites living in Zaphath, and they completely destroyed the town. So the town was named Hormah. In addition, Judah captured the towns of Gaza, Ashkelon, and Ekron, along with their surrounding territories. The Lord was with the people of Judah, and they took possession of the hill country. But they failed to drive out the people living in the plains who had iron chariots. The town of Hebron was given to Caleb, as Moses had promised, and Caleb drove out the people living there, who were the descendants of the 3 sons of Anak. The tribe of Benjamin, however, failed to drive out the Jebusites, who were living in Jerusalem. So to this day, the Jebusites live in Jerusalem among the people of Benjamin. The descendants of Joseph attacked the town of Bethel, and the Lord was with them. They sent men to scout out Bethel, formerly known as Luz. They confronted a man coming out of the town and said to him, "Show us a way into the town, and we will have mercy on you." So he showed them a way in, and they killed everyone in the town except that man and his family. Later, the man moved to the land of the Hittites, where he built a town. He named it Luz, which is its name to this day. The tribe of Manasseh failed to drive out the people living in Bethshan, Tanakah, Dor, Ibleam, Megiddo, and all their surrounding settlements because the Canaanites were determined to stay in that region. When the Israelites grew stronger, they forced the Canaanites to work as slaves, but they never did drive them out completely of the land. The tribe of Ephraim failed to drive out the Canaanites living in Gezer, so the Canaanites continued to live there among them. The tribe of Zebulun failed to drive out the residents of Kitron and Nahalol, so the Canaanites continued to live among them. But the Canaanites were forced to work as slaves for the people of Zebulun. The tribe of Asher failed to drive out the residents of Acco, Sidon, Ahalab, Achzib, Helba, Aphek, and Rehob. Instead, the people of Asher moved in among the Canaanites who controlled the land, for they failed to drive them out. Likewise, the tribe of Naphtali failed to drive out the residents of Beth-Shemesh and Beth-Anath. Instead, they moved in among the Canaanites who controlled the land. Nevertheless, the people of Beth-Shemesh and Beth-Anath were forced to work as slaves for the people of Naphtali. As for the tribe of Dan, the Amorites forced them back into the hill country and would not let them come down into the plains. The Amorites were determined to stay in Mount Heres, Aijalon, and Shaalbim. But when the descendants of Joseph became stronger, they forced the Amorites to work as slaves. The boundary of the Amorites ran from the Scorpion Pass to Selah and continued upward from there. The angel of the Lord went up from Gilgal to Bochum and said to the Israelites, "I brought you out of Egypt into this land, and I swore to give to your ancestors. And I said I would never break my covenant with you. For your part, you were not to make any covenants with the people living in this land. Instead, you were to destroy their altars, but you disobeyed my command. Why did you do this? So now I declare that I will no longer drive out the people living in your land. They will be thorns in your sides, and their gods will be a constant temptation to you." When the angel of the Lord finished speaking to all the Israelites, the people wept loudly. So they called the place Bochum, which means weeping. And they offered sacrifices there to the Lord. After Joshua sent the people away, each of the tribes left to take possession of the land allotted to them. And the Israelites served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and the leaders who outlived him, those who had seen all the great things the Lord had done for Israel. Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. They buried him in the land he had been allocated at Timnah-Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. After that generation died, another generation grew up who did not acknowledge the Lord or remember the mighty things he had done. The Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight and served the images of Baal. They abandoned the Lord, the God of their ancestors, who brought them out of Egypt. They went after other gods, worshiping the gods of the people around them, and they angered the Lord. They abandoned the Lord to serve Baal and the images of Ashtoreth. This made the Lord burn with anger against Israel, so he handed them over to the raiders who stole their possessions. He turned them over to their enemies all around, and they were no longer able to resist them. Every time Israel went out to battle, the Lord fought against them, causing them to be defeated, just as he had warned, and the people were in great distress. Then the Lord raised up judges to rescue the Israelites from their attackers. Yet Israel did not listen to the judges, but prostituted themselves by worshiping other gods. How quickly they turned away from the path of their ancestors who walked in obedience to the Lord's commands. Whenever the Lord raised up a judge over Israel, he was with that judge and rescued the people of Israel from their enemies throughout the judge's lifetime. For the Lord took pity on his people who were burdened by oppression and suffering. But when the judge died, the people returned to their corrupt ways, behaving worse than those who had lived before them. They went after other gods, serving and worshipping them, and they refused to give up their evil practices and stubborn ways. So the Lord burned with anger against Israel. He said, "Because the people have violated my covenant, which I made with their ancestors, and have ignored my commands, I will no longer drive out the nations that Joshua left unconquered when he died. I did this to test Israel, to see whether or not they would follow my ways. They would follow the ways of the Lord, as their ancestors did. That is why the Lord left those nations in place. He did not drive them out. He did not quickly drive them out or allow Joshua to conquer them all. These are the nations that the Lord left in the land to test the Israelites who had not experienced the wars of Canaan. He did this to teach warfare to generations of the Israelites who had no experience in battle. These are the nations, the Philistines, those living under the 5 Philistine rulers, all the Canaanites, the Sidonians, and the Hittites living in the mountains of Lebanon from Mount Baal Hermon to Lebo Hamath. These people were left to test the Israelites, to see whether they would obey the commands of the Lord had given to their ancestors through Moses. So the people of Israel lived among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and they intermarried with them. Israelite sons married their daughters, and Israelite daughters were given in marriage to their sons, and the Israelites served their gods. The Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight. They forgot about the Lord their God, and they served the images of Baal and the Asherah poles. Then the Lord burned with anger against Israel, and he turned them over to King Cushan Rishathaim of Aram Naharaim. And the Israelites served Cushan Rishathaim for 8 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help, the Lord raised up a rescuer to save them. His name was Othniel, the son of Caleb's younger brother Kenaz. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he became Israel's judge. He went to war against King Cushan Rishathaim of Aram, and the Lord gave Othniel victory over him. So there was peace in the land for 40 years. Then Othniel, son of Kenaz, died. Once again the Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight, and the Lord gave King Eglon of Moab control over Israel because of their evil. Eglon enlisted the Ammonites and Amalekites as allies, and then he went out and defeated Israel, taking possession of Jericho, the city of palms. And the Israelites served Eglon of Moab for 18 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help, the Lord again raised up a rescuer to save them. His name was Ehud, son of Gera, a left-handed man of the tribe of Benjamin. The Israelites sent Ehud to deliver the tribute money to King Eglon of Moab. So Ehud made a double-edged dagger that was about 1 foot long, and he strapped it to his right thigh, keeping it hidden under his clothing. He brought the tribute money to Eglon, who was very fat. After delivering the payment, Ehud started home with those who had helped carry the tribute. But when Ehud reached the stone idols near Gilgal, he turned back. He came to Eglon and said, "I have a secret message for you." So the king commanded his servants, "Be quiet," and he sent them all out of the room. Ehud walked over to Eglon, who was sitting alone in a cool upstairs room, and Ehud said, "I have a message from God for you." As King Eglon rose from his seat, Ehud reached with his left hand and pulled out the dagger strapped to his right thigh, and it plunged into the king's belly. The dagger went so deep that the handle disappeared into the king's fat. So Ehud did not pull out the dagger, and the king's bowels emptied. Then Ehud closed and locked the doors of the room and escaped down the latrine. After Ehud was gone, the king's servants returned and found the doors to the upstairs room locked. They thought he might be using latrine in the room, so they waited. But when the king didn't come out after a long delay, they became concerned and got a key. And when they opened the doors, they found their master dead on the floor. While the servants were waiting, Ehud escaped, passing the stone idols on his way to Sahara. When he arrived in the hill country of Ephraim, Ehud sounded a call to arms. Then he led a band of Israelites down from the hills. "Follow me," he said, "for the Lord has given you victory over Moab, your enemy." So they followed him, and the Israelites took control of the shallow crossings of the Jordan River across from Moab, preventing anyone from crossing. They attacked the Moabites and killed about 10,000 of their strongest and most able-bodied warriors. Not one of them escaped. So Moab was conquered by Israel that day, and there was peace in the land for 80 years. Shamgar becomes Israel's next judge. After Ehud, Shamgar, son of Anath, rescued Israel. He once killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad. After Ehud's death, the Israelites again did evil in the Lord's sight. So the Lord turned them over to King Jabin of Hazor, a Canaanite king. The commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. Sisera, who had 900 iron chariots, ruthlessly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord for help. Deborah, the wife of Lapidoth, was a prophet who was judging Israel at the time. She would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites would go to her for judgment. One day she sent for Barak, son of Abinoam, who lived in Kadesh in the land of Naphtali. She said to him, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, commands you. Call out 10,000 warriors from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun at Mount Tabor, and I will call out Sisera, commander of Jabin's army, along with his chariots and warriors, to the Kishon River. There I will give you victory over him." Barak told her, "I will go out, but only if you go with me." "Very well," she replied, "I will go with you, but you will receive no honor in this venture, for the Lord's victory over Sisera will be at the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. At Kadesh, Barak called together the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali, and 10,000 warriors were sent up with him. Deborah also went with him. Now Heber the Kenite, a descendant of Moses' brother-in-law Hobab, had moved away from the other members of his tribe and pitched his tent by the oak at Zananim, near Kadesh. When Sisera was told that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, he called for all 900 of his iron chariots and all his warriors, and they marched from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Get ready. This is the day the Lord will give you victory over Sisera, for the Lord is marching ahead of you." So Barak led his 10,000 warriors down the slopes of Mount Tabor into battle. When Barak attacked, the Lord threw Sisera and all his chariot warriors into a panic. Sisera leaped down from his chariot and escaped on foot. Then Barak chased the chariots and the enemy army all the way to Harosheth Hagoyim, killing all of Sisera's warriors. Not a single one was left alive. Meanwhile, Sisera ran to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because Heber's family was on friendly terms with King Jabin of Hazor. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Come into my tent, sir. Come in. Don't be afraid." So he went into her tent, and she covered him with a blanket. "Please give me some water," he said. "I'm thirsty." So she gave him some milk from a leather bag and covered him again. "Stand at the front of the door," he told her. "If anybody comes and asks you if there is anyone here, say no." But when Sisera fell asleep from exhaustion, Jael quietly crept up to him with a hammer and tent peg in her hand. Then she drove the tent peg through his temple and into the ground, and so he died. When Barak came looking for Sisera, Jael went out to meet him. She said, "Come, and I will show you the man you are looking for." So he followed her into the tent and found Sisera lying there dead with the tent peg through his temple. So on that day Israel saw God defeat Jabin, the Canaanite king. And from that time on, Israel became stronger and stronger against King Jabin until they finally destroyed him. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang this song. Israel's leaders took charge, and the people gladly followed. Praise the Lord. Listen, you kings, pay attention, you mighty rulers, for I will sing to the Lord. I will make music to the Lord, the God of Israel. The Lord, when you send When you set out from Seir and marched across the fields of Edom, the earth trembled, and the cloudy skies poured down rain. The mountains quaked in the presence of the Lord, the God of Mount Sinai. In the presence of the Lord, the God of Israel, in the days of Shamgar, son of Anath, and in the days of Jael, people avoided the main roads, and the travelers stayed on winding pathways. There were few people left in the villages of Israel, until Deborah arose as a mother for Israel. When Israel chose new gods, war erupted at the city gates. Yet not a shield or spear could be seen among 40,000 warriors in Israel. My heart is with the commanders of Israel, with those who volunteer for war. Praise the Lord. Consider this, you who ride on fine donkeys, you who sit on fancy saddled blankets, and you who walk along the road. Listen to the village musicians gathered at the watering holes. They recount the righteous victories of the Lord and the victories of his villagers in Israel. Then the people of the Lord marched down to the city gates. Wake up, Deborah, wake up, wake up, wake up, and sing a song. Arise, Barak, lead your captives away, son of Abinoam. Down from Tabor marched the few against the nobles. The people of the Lord marched down against mighty warriors. They came down from Ephraim, a land that was once belonged to the Amalekites. They followed you, Benjamin. With your troops from Machir, the commanders marched down. From Zebulun came those who carry a commander's staff. The princes of Issachar were with Deborah and Barak. They followed Barak, rushing into the valley. But in the tribe of Reuben, there was great indecision. Why did you sit at home among the sheepfolds to hear the shepherds whistle for their flocks? Yes, in the tribe of Reuben there was great indecision. Gilead remained east of the Jordan. And why did you, Dan, stay home? Asher sat unmoved at the seashore, remaining in its harbors. But Zebulun risked his life, as did Naphtali, on the heights of the battlefield. The kings of Canaan came and fought at Tanakh near Megiddo Springs, but they carried off no silver treasures. The stars fought from heaven. The stars in their orbits fought against Sisera. The Kishon River swept them away. The ancient torrent, the Kishon, march on with courage, my soul. Then the horses' hooves hammered the grounds, the galloping of Sisera's mighty steeds. Let the people of Meroz be cursed, said the angel of the Lord. Let them be utterly cursed, because they did not come to help the Lord against the mighty warriors. Most blessed among women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite. May she be blessed above all women who live in tents. Sisera asked for water, and she gave him milk. In a bowl fit for nobles, she brought him yogurt. Then, with her left hand, she reached for a tent peg, and with her right hand, for the workman's hammer. She struck Sisera with the hammer, crushing his head. With a shattering blow, she pierced his temples. He sank, he fell, he lay still at her feet, and where he sank, there he died. From the window of Sisera's mother looked out. Through the window she watched for his return, saying, "Why is this chariot so long in coming? Why don't we hear the sound of chariot wheels?" Her wise women answered, and she repeats these words to herself. They must be dividing the captured plunder. With a woman or two for every man. There will be colorful robes for Sisera and colorful embroidered robes for me. Yes, the plunder will include colorful robes embroidered on both sides. Lord, may all your enemies die like Sisera, but may those who love you rise like the sun in all its power. Then there was peace in the land for 40 years. All right, that is our reading for today. What's up, Knox? Good to see you. Welcome. Hope you are well today. Good to see you. Restart? No, we're not restarting. I can't restart and read it again. My throat is too dry for that. So we just read the first 5 chapters. The sun does look nice, right? It's right on my face here. So we had the beginning was kind of a recap of what happened at the end of Joshua and the conquer any what they conquered, and then we get into this back and forth of what happens to the Israelites. Once the current leader dies, the Israelites fall away and start worshiping the other gods. And we have seen this pattern over and over again. We saw it with the Israelites in the desert when Moses goes up the mountain and he's there too long. The people ask Aaron for gods to worship. They just can't seem to worship God on their own. And then they build the golden calf and start worshiping it, right? And now they've just seen all these miracles. They've crossed the Jordan River with Joshua. But when Joshua dies and the land has been conquered for the most part, there's still some left in there. We see that they fall away. And then God raises up a new leader. Othniel becomes the new leader, and he gives them deliverance, and they start worshiping God again. And then Othniel dies, and they fall away, and then they get captured again. And this is a pattern we're going to see over and over again through Judges. And it's difficult. It's difficult to like see this pattern of like, man, you guys are the chosen people of God. You are the Lord's favorite. He has fought for you. And yet the moment that you have peace in the land for a little bit, you then turn and follow other gods. And it's like, man, it's hard. It's heartbreaking to see this over and over again. But the mirror is not far away. The mirror is not far away at all. When we have peace and prosperity in our own lives, then we fall away. We fall away. We just start worshiping other things. We're like, oh, we don't need God. We're good. We're making it on our own. Like that's what you start thinking, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'll just watch TV, or I'll just play video games, or I'll just enjoy myself and drink a lot, or you just whatever it is, these become your idols, the things that you care about more than God. And you're basically falling away. So, about to walk your dogs to the park? Good. We'll have a good walk there, Knox. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it's a good routine to have. It's a good routine to walk your dogs in the morning. I'm sure they like it. Good morning, Asibla. Welcome. And so this continued back and forth is not what we are supposed to do in our lives. We're seeing it here, and it's like, gosh, don't they get it? But the same is true with us. Like, we need God in moments of distress and maybe health concerns or monetary concerns or relationship concerns, and we need God, and we cry out to him, and then God maybe delivers for us or shows us the pathway to walk, and we're happy about it, and then we do it for a season, and then we're like, oh, we're back at peace, and so we kind of just forget. We forget God in the peaceful moments. And then we just start slipping back into old patterns of behavior with people, old patterns of habits, things that just don't bring us closer to God. Because this is just the human nature. People just kind of forget God during seasons of peace. And so, over and over again, God brings terror on them in some ways. They have people controlling them and governing them that aren't their own leaders, and then they they're oppressed. They're back to oppression, and this is the same with us. We're back to like feeling oppressed and feeling down because of the things that we do, the vices and crutches that we use in life. Just they don't offer life. They offer just temporary comfort from our discomfort. And so then we're stuck in this cycle of continuing to look to these things for comfort when they can't offer it. And there are so many crutches. There are so many crutches in this life. More crutches probably in today's society than there were back in those days. And we have so many of them. And they are basically false idols and gods. They aren't going to bring us life. And so at some point we have to break the cycle of turning to them. And we have to just turn our hearts to God. And then we have to be steadfast in it. And that is not easy. It is not easy. And it's a process, and it's slow. And through that journey, you're going to have to war against these things that have been your crutches. You're going to have to war to say, no, I don't need caffeine every single day at outrageous amounts. No, I don't need poker every day. It doesn't need to be the crutch. I don't need the TV every day. I don't need my doom scrolling every day. Whatever it is, you got to figure out what it is for you. And you're going to need help. I mean, I'm just giving some examples. You'll have to figure it out. You have to figure out what your crutch is, and then you have to deal with it. And it's going to be hard to deal with. But God wants to help you through that journey, because He knows that when you look to Him for help, you're turning away from those other things. Yeah, drinking to numb the pain, right? I mean, that's a very common thing, and it doesn't actually, it just temporarily numbs your mind from the pain. It numbs your senses. Yeah. Versus just, I have pain. What do I need to do in my body to help that? God, teach me. Teach me the proper ways. And go on a journey. And it's an exploration. The journey of life with God is supposed to be an exploration of adventure and fun and trials and mishaps. It's okay. It's okay to fail as well along the way. And we just see that. We see that with these people. But God doesn't give up. He raises up somebody to help get them back on the right path. And then, the next journey is staying on the right path. Man, staying on the right path is so difficult. Getting on the path sometimes is easy, but staying on the right path is a long, arduous journey. So, and we're going to just see this back and forth some more. I mean, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't the case, but it seems like generation after generation of the Israelites, you'll have a generation that follows, and the next generation won't. Peace comes, and they won't. So, in the same way, let us not do the same things. Let us let us turn towards our maker, towards our creator and say, "Okay, let's do it your way. Let's do it your way." All right. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys hearing this part of the journey. Thanks for your comments as always, and making it personal, of course. It is hard. Oh gosh, man, that's a tough one, Asibla. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, like to just be a person of to be a person of character of their word. That is tough. Um, but also like to stop lying to yourself. I mean, if you're just saying it to yourself, it's one thing. If you're saying it to others and then you're like looking like you're going to do more than you are, to have like to think about that and say, well, I'm looking for approval or whatever, like that's not good. It's not good to say it to others and not do it. And it's not good to say it to yourself and not do it either, right? I mean, we haven't gotten to this part of scripture, but it says treat others the way you want to be treated. So if you're telling others and not doing it, well, then you're just looking like you're just trying to look good, like you're going to do something. But if you tell yourself you're going to do it and don't do it, like you're not treating yourself very well. And if you don't treat yourself very well, you probably won't treat others very well. I just heard that message yesterday on a podcast I was listening to. I was like, oh, you have to be kind to yourself and love yourself. And so maybe the first step is just don't make promises. Don't like over promise, over commit. Man, I'm terrible about that. I'm terrible about that, especially with my wife. Yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Man, if I say that or I say it's on a list, man, she knows I'm not getting to it. And it's terrible. Like why say something like that? Why say you're going to do something when you know that you're just going to avoid it? We just want to look good in the moment and be the hero of the story for a second. Just say it's not that important. Like then you're not lying. It's really not that important. If it's so important to you to ask me to do it, then you do it. Like, and I mean that's tough for the other person to hear, but just say no. It's like it's not that important. Uh, right? But I think there's this part of us that wants to come through for people and wants to come through for ourselves. And there's this other part of us, like, it's this good place of us that, like, we want to sacrifice some of ourselves for somebody else. But when time comes to actually sacrifice, we're less enthralled to do it because we just would rather do our vices, we'd rather do whatever else. To just say, okay, it's important that I go help my wife here. It's important I go help my neighbor here. How long is this thing really going to take? Is it that bad that I have to take a night or two off from my vices and my poker? Is it? All right, Joel, let's stretch it out. Oh, yeah. Man, we need to stretch. Welcome, Joel. Hi. You're new here? Good. Yes. Don't just say you're going to take out your dogs. Go take them out. God bless. Thanks for being here, Knox. It feels good to be the helper, but doing the helping is hard to prioritize. Yeah, I mean, it is. It is. It is. Today, yes. Today is Bible stories. We read the Bible stories. We skip some parts that are not stories, and we're just starting at the beginning and going forward. We're now in the book of Judges, and we're just going through the stories of the Bible and then kind of relating it to our lives, how it practically applies in general life. So we do this on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday morning, 6:33 Central. So yeah, you can get on the Discord to see when things happen and all the other stuff as well. So welcome, welcome. You're from India. Well, welcome from India. Hi. Welcome. And then we do poker streams other times of the week as well, where we play some poker or do some poker studying. So I have a very diverse background of streaming things here. So welcome. Hi. Nice to meet you, Joel. But yes, so I love what you said there, Siebla. That's a great challenge, is not to lie to ourselves. When we say we're going to do something, let's put the time in and do it. Let's put the time in and actually do what we say we're going to do. And that's the same message that we're hearing in the Bible here. This community, these people, the Israelites, promised God they would do something, which was obey him and follow him. And then they turned from it. And because they made the promise, God and them, they're in this covenant relationship. Covenant relationships are like marriages. When you tell your spouse you're going to do something and you don't, how happy are they with you? They're not happy. They're like, you're a liar. They're upset. And then they start treating you worse because they're upset that you won't do what you say you're going to do. Right? Then they have to do it themselves or whatever else. And it's like, it breaks down trust. It breaks down all the things that you're trying to do. And so, first, just don't say you're going to do things you won't. And if you do say it, we got to follow through. And man, that is hard. It's hard. I'm just as guilty of this. I'm no different than the Israelites. Yeah, procrastination. It's bad. Man, I'm procrastinating about lots of things. I've got plenty of projects I need to do at my house. I procrastinate all the time. Taxes are due in America tomorrow. Okay, I just finished it this weekend. I got to go mail this thing today. Okay, it's the day before. I've got to do it. I procrastinated, but I got it done. But I could have done it months ago. I could have. There was times where I was just sick and at home and could have worked on it then. It's like, I get that there's jobs we'd rather do, and that's the thing. The things that we would rather do, we generally choose to do. And the things that we don't want to do, we choose not to do them. But don't say then, I'm going to do them, the things you don't want to do. Just say, no, I don't want to do them. Like, be honest. Like, it's not for me to do. Maybe you hire it out. Maybe you do something else. But if you've promised to do it, let's be people of our word. That's what being part of a covenant means, is if I say it, I'm going to do it. So, all right. We've seen this thing come full circle. So let's do it. That's it. Just like Nike, just do it. Yeah, it affects us, right? And then we just see the piles piling up, right? I want to keep my desk clean. And before I did my taxes, I cleaned off my desk cuz I got to get all these papers out and all this stuff, right? But why don't I just keep it clean all the time? Why is it so hard when the mail comes in to open the 3 pieces of mail and deal with them and then throw them out? Why do I have to wait for, 2 to 3 months when I have a pile that's, this high? Now it takes me a year to go through. Not a year, an hour to go through. Versus it just takes 3 minutes. Can I give 3 minutes to the little chore? Yes, I can. what I'm doing is probably not that important in this moment that I can give it. Sometimes it has to pile up, but it shouldn't just keep piling up. Okay, nobody should go into my basement and see all the stuff I collect down there. My wife just wants to get a dumpster and throw it all out, and honestly, that would probably be the best thing. One day it'll be done, but I have not promised that. She wants that. I have not promised that one. But let's deal with things. Let's deal with things. Okay. All right, I'm going to call that for the day. Thank you guys for being here. Joel, welcome. It's nice to meet you. I'm Dave, by the way. Like I said, we do these streams, and if this is a good time for you, 6:33 in the morning. So these are short streams, generally less than an hour. And we'll do this on Tuesdays. It used to be on Thursdays, but it's on Fridays now. I gotta change the schedule on my stream there, and on Sunday mornings. So whatever time frame that is for you, if you're in India, so it's about an hour prior to right now is when we started up. So if you like it, come on back on Friday for the next part of the session. There's some great stories coming up of this back and forth and God calling some courageous people, and there are some really nasty stories coming up. So the Bible doesn't mince some of the hard things that we're going to hear. And so just prepare yourself. There's some really difficult things we're going to hear in this book as people go to and fro and just do their own things. So, all right, that said, love you guys. I will see you again soon. My next stream is probably Wednesday evening for a poker session, and then we'll be back on Friday after that for the next Bible reading. So take care. Love you guys, and I will see you again soon.